Travel Barber Tribe, what's really good? It's Friday, it's a beautiful day. We got a fresh haircut coming your way, and I'm excited to be here. YouTube, let's get it. Today we are doing a all even. This is a 1.5 with the grain wavelength with the skin taper on the sides and back. As always, we got to start by combing the hair out first, making sure we comb out the canvas before we do any cutting at all. Next, before we start fading, we take it all down to the desired length. So this is going to be an all even 1.5 lever close on the clipper with the grain going all the way around. Going to make sure we take it all down to that length first before we start to taper the sides and back. Alright, and now after we take everything down to the 1.5 length, we're going to go ahead and do it's going to be a low skin taper on the sides, and then just a regular skin taper on the neckline. And you want to go ahead and start by creating your first guideline. You want to make sure to stay below the top of the ear when you're doing your low skin fade. Basically you can kind of measure it up with like the eyeball. That's like a good area to start your line, and then kind of fade up from there if it's going to be a low skin taper. So make sure that you stay below the ear, maybe close to the eyeball, but that might not be the case with every client, so use your best judgment. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and do this. So we got our first line created, then we take out a little bit of weight with our half guard, and then we take the half guard off, and we're going to blend in between with the corner. When you're fading in a small area like this, the corner of your clipper is going to be the most important part of the fade, okay, of the taper, of whatever, when it's in a tiny area like this, because the corner is just going to be your best friend. It's the best way to fade. It's the best way to get a clean taper in a tiny area, And yeah, so just make sure you angle it right, play around with the different angles, play around with the lever, but make sure you're using that corner. And since this is pretty short and easy haircut, this is basically, we did the 1.5 on top. We do we start our skin taper, low skin taper line first, and then we're basically just going to use our half guard and our number 1 guard, and that's pretty much it. We might use the 1.5 as well, kind of just to knock out any loose hairs towards like the top of the taper, but for the most part it's going to be the half guard, no guard, and then our number 1 guard. And we're also going to make sure to smooth out, go down with the grain with our number 1, kind of like towards the top of the taper. You can see I'm doing it right there, just to make sure it's kind of smooth and blends in nicely. And then always, unless the client says otherwise, you want to make sure to taper in the top of the beard. So just taper that part in. You don't got to fade the whole beard out. You just got to taper the top part of the sideburn area, because you don't want them leaving with a hard line between where you tapered at and where you made your line at and the beard. This is kind of the part you start to learn as you become a more advanced barber, is like certain areas on the hair, like around his ears, on the back of the neck, it's a little bit curly, so we're going to take it down just a tiny bit shorter, kind of laying down the hairs with our number 1, because it's pretty curly, it's kind of sticking out, and it's very hard to line up. So sometimes just in those areas alone, you gotta just take it a tad bit shorter so it lays down, but you don't want to go too high doing that, because then you're changing the whole haircut. Then it's gonna be from the 1.5 to a 1, and it's gonna be uneven on opposite sides and whatnot. So you just want to do it around the perimeter of the line on certain areas, just to lay down the hairs a little nicely, so they're a little bit more smooth, so that when you line it up, everything looks sharp and clean and smooth. And yeah, that's just a little tip for you guys. but never go like too short. Like I did a 1.5 on top with the grain, so that was just number one around the back of the neckline. So, and then you just go with the grain, just take down a little bit of loose hairs, and then you line everything up. Make sure to keep everything nice and natural. Follow the natural hairline as best as possible. Make sure to look in front of your client, straight ahead at them to see and make sure that everything is even. And then we're just gonna repeat the same steps on the opposite side and the back as well. This is just a low skin taper on the sides and then a neck taper on the back. So nothing too crazy. 1.5 on top with the grain, and we're gonna line everything up. I also did the beard, but I didn't record that part. So also lined up the beard. Didn't really take any length off. And then at the end, if you guys watch this video to the end, you'll see me also add enhancements in case anyone is trying to learn how to add enhancements to a haircut. So just a quick look, this is the full haircut done without any enhancements. You can see the beard is lined up, you can see everything's lined up, everything's faded, looks good. Now we're gonna add enhancements. So we're gonna use a little bit of our semi-permanent color, gonna use that around the lineup, and then always to make it, give it more of a natural feel, you wanna add a little bit of hair fibers on top of that. So we make sure to add this right around the perimeter of the lineup, make it nice and sharp and dark and clean, and then we're going to add a little bit of hair fibers at the end, and then we're going to go over the lineup one more time just to make sure everything is in place, everything's looking good. And then I hope you guys are enjoying this tutorial. It's nothing too crazy, but it's a great haircut, and definitely a good summer cut, you know, low wave length, little taper, you know what I'm saying? So if you're interested in learning this haircut or have any more questions, go ahead and reach out to me in the comments. Make sure to watch to the end to see the full look of the haircut. One more quick tip for you guys before we wrap this haircut up. You can see I'm using my trimmers to knock down the loose hairs on the front lineup. So sometimes you'll see barbers use their shears, cutting some of the hairs on the front lineup. Sometimes you'll see them use their clipper or their trimmers. Basically what I'm doing is I see some hairs sticking up that are like a little bit curly, just sticking up, that may drag over on the haircut when he takes a shower. So you don't want that. You want longevity for their lineup, and so you want to make sure that you get those loose hairs that are sticking up, and it'll make for a cleaner haircut. So I just use my trimmer just to go over those, follow the hair with the grain, not taking it too short, just a very light trim on those, and then go over the lineup one more time, and we're looking good. And with enhancements and everything, full haircut complete. This is the haircut. We did a low skin taper on the side, skin taper on the neck. We added enhancements, and we did a 1.5 with the grain all the way around. And we lined up everything, including the beard as well. And we didn't take any length off the beard. Hope you guys enjoyed this haircut tutorial. I appreciate y'all. Catch y'all on the next one.